record.
Okay, let's go. I'm
Okay.
gonna put a timer on.
So now I need to. Okay. Oh yeah. Okay, I can do it now. Okay. 3, 2, 1.
I don't have a timer.
Yes.
It's on my phone.
It's fine. It's fine. Hello, everybody. This is Angelique Tsang from the Superwomen Babes Club, and tonight we have the second interview with Daniel Browne about the topic of Theta healing, on specifically the topics of money and success. And the reason why we wanted to touch upon this topic is because money and success seem to be very universal themes that cause a lot of stress and a lot of suffering for many, many people. And of course, we are all living in luxurious, basically very, very comfortable circumstances. I mean, most of all do, but we also, actually, a lot of us want progress in our life. So many of us want bigger goals in life. We want more money, or we might want to set up our own company. And basically, what I've seen is that, at some point there's always going to be some struggle or some kind of like survival issue that will be surrounded around the topic of money, or just in general the theme of success. So Daniel, can you please come on the screen and say hello?
Hello, can you see me there?
Yes, we can. Yes.
Hello, everyone. Great to be back.
So just
Yeah. So, how do you do? So you're gonna ask me questions, or do you want me to talk?
just talk, because we have 6 viewers on the line, and as long as you talk, we'll see you on the screen. And the more that I talk, the more that I see myself on the screen, which is very uninteresting.
Oh, okay, makes sense. Okay, great. Yes. So we're talking about money and success and abundance and blocks that we may have to that. And it's a common thing. I think most of us have blocks to success and abundance. I mean, basically most of what we're programmed from birth, really. So especially from the ages of childhood 0 to 7 and beyond. And we pick up all the programming that's in our culture, all the programming from our parents. And in society, there are a lot of issues around money and success. It's quite natural that we will have some blocks. And I think one of the things to notice is you and I, Angelique, we're entrepreneurs, and so many people in this call are entrepreneurs. During when you have a steady job, the money blocks are not going to be so important, because you have a paycheck, you don't need to go out and get business, like you're being taken care of. So it's not that there's anything wrong with having money blocks. It's when you break out from the norm and you become an entrepreneur, that's when you generally deal with money blocks. So you can say money blocks or success blocks are just obstacles on the way to success. They are beliefs that you need to confront in order to grow, essentially, and to get to the next level. So it's actually a good thing that we have them. Not good when you're experiencing them. It's good that we have them and we can then do something about them. So we're basically breaking out of our programming. I think that as human beings, that's our destiny. That's how we grow. And obviously, it's not just for entrepreneurs. It's anyone who is on a path to growth. Anyone who wants to move up the career ladder, who wants to take on bigger levels of success, will encounter some kind of block. And it's really, the good thing is the opportunity to break through that, because some people don't. They arise to a level of competence or incompetence, and they don't go any further than that. So it's fine to have money blocks. It's really, how do we move past them and go past that challenge? And it's not a common thing necessarily to talk about or to deal with blocks to money or abundance or success. Yeah. So it's, while you're going through your patterns, it's not great, but it's something that's on the way to growth, essentially. So let's see. So as I said, we get them through mainly through childhood, but throughout life, all of as we go through. So whenever you experience any significant, I don't want to use the word trauma, but any significant failure, any significant event in your life which can be perceived as a negative event. Okay. So how do you tell? How can you tell that you have blocks to abundance and success? And a bit later, I'm just going to go separate them out and talk about the common beliefs around abundance and money and those around success because they're similar but different.
Yes.
So we'll talk about those. So how can you tell? Usually when things, there's a couple of ways, but usually you can tell during the field of action. So if you are, for example, if you do you do affirmations and you're saying your affirmations and then you have a feeling that you don't believe that affirmation, or you have a goal, you set a goal for success in a particular area and you find it a struggle to make it happen, you don't believe you can meet that goal, and those are all the clues that tell you there is some blockage. Or if you find yourself repeating the same patterns over and over again around money, around success, some people have the fear of success and the fear of failure, so they motivate if they don't want to get too successful because that will trigger their fear. They don't also motivated not to fail. So if you can notice those fears, and that is a sign you have a block. And I think a lot of people have the fear of success and fear of failure.
Mm-hmm.
Well, so anywhere where you have guilt, worry, fear, or shame in regards to money or success, actually in regards to any area, but as we're talking about these areas, you have anywhere there's guilt, worry, shame, all the lower vibrational energies, then that is a sign that there is some belief to clear out, some judgment to clear out. So those are the main ways to tell. And you may just notice that through your day-to-day life that you notice either a thought you have or something that comes out of your mouth. Like you start saying, I'll never make it, or I'll never be rich, or I can't afford that. So if you just notice what comes out of your mouth, so if you have some good supportive friends who will pick you up on what you say, then that's also a great way as well to tell. So basically, and generally life will give you clues. And then generally, so life will give you clues as to where you have your blocks, and if not, then if you just have a sense you're struggling and you're not getting the effort and something's in the way, then it's likely you do have a block. Okay, so as I said, and we spoke last time about the nature of blocks. So the blocks exist on different levels. So the blocks that occurred from negative patterns, or we say patterns, negative beliefs, which they may not be negative, just limited beliefs, which come from this lifetime. There may be genetic beliefs, so beliefs that are passed down through your ancestry, so genetic or ancestral beliefs. Beliefs which come about from your history or your culture or where you live, the country that you live in. And then beliefs or blocks which are on the soul level. So these are carried through lifetime, essentially.
Mm-hmm.
So a question to ask yourself. So here's a good question to check if you have if you have a block to a particular goal or a block around success, is to ask yourself this question. So what would be, so say you've got this goal, you're just trying to achieve it. Ask yourself, what would be the worst thing that would happen if you achieved that? So say you want to make £10 million. What would be the worst thing that would happen if you achieve £10 million? That will give you clues. So maybe like it's a lot of hard work. And maybe people will want to take the money away from me. I don't know how I manage it. I might lose it. I'd be nervous. So if you ask yourself that question, what would be the worst thing that would happen if you achieved your financial goal or your goal?
Mm-hmm.
Because actually, it could be a burden to have a lot of money. It could be a burden to have success. You may be visible and you want to remain invisible.
Yes.
So start to think of what would be the worst thing that would happen if you did achieve that success. Okay, so Do you have any questions at this point? Any questions from anyone?
Have you looked at all the questions that the viewers have sent in? I'm just wondering because I sent them to you.
Yeah, I have. So I've got them here. I'm addressing them already, so I just want to know anything so far about what we've covered.
Yeah. Okay. So
So what I'm going to do. So what's next is I'm just going to go through some typical beliefs around success and money, but I just wanted to get some questions so far.
mhm.
So I'm just having a look through these questions that you sent. Right. So yeah, so I spoke about how we can identify if we have a block. So how to overcome the fear feeling, what if we can't do it? So I'm not clear on that. What if we can't achieve our goal, or what if we can't deal with the block?
I think
What
the
if we can't
question is because I read the question. Basically, the questioner asked if I have a fear of not doing it, and I have all these negative thoughts, these creeping thoughts in my mind. This person said I try to not think of them, but they're still there. What is the best way to deal with it?
Well, you want to address the fears. You don't want to ignore the fears, because the fear is like, it's like two sides of the same coin. So if you have the fear of of the fear of something, means if you're ignoring it, you're still giving energy to it.
Yes.
So you have to have the fear as a neutral thing. So how to best to describe
What would you do in
this.
theta healing, Daniel? What would a theta healer
Say
do?
again.
What would a theta
All
healer?
right. So yeah, I was going to come to that part. So the quickest way, obviously, is to get someone a theta healer to clear them. But in the meantime, just to notice the fears and don't give so much power to them. Don't try to ignore them, because generally that suppressed fear it still exists. So with theta healer, then we would just work through all of those fears. So we look at and basically we get to the root core of those fears, essentially. And generally, most of the fears have some sort of commonality. So we would basically work to get through to the bottom of that. And I'll come on to in a bit about the different types of common fears that we do have, which I'll talk about. So that was basically how to. There's another question here: how to block negative thoughts. I said, yeah. So you can spend a lot of time trying to block negative thoughts, and you're not really going to block them. I mean, if you really have the easiest way to deal with them is to grant them being and allow them to be there, but not like focus on what you're focusing on, but allow them to be there. But obviously, they're still lingering and they still need to be addressed. So with theta, we would simply just clear them out. So we'd go through them and get to root cause, and then clear out those negative thought patterns.
Yeah.
Because yeah, you want to clear that energy out of your energy field. And actually, that brings me onto another way to find out what negative blocks you have. You can actually tune into your energy field, and we're all broadcasting energy. We're all broadcasting energy through our human energy field. So you can actually just sense, what am I broadcasting at this point in time? And I used to do that when I go to network meetings. Before I go, I think, what am I broadcasting? What is the message that I'm subtly giving out? And that will again give you a clue as to what's there. So if you're having difficulty, so obviously you can use conventional coaching, but there are times where you just can't get to those beliefs and remove them, and that's where theta healing really works, because it works on the areas. Generally, your conventional coaching or other therapies, they work on the beliefs from this lifetime. So with theta, you can go through ancestral beliefs, historic beliefs, soul level beliefs, which is why it's so powerful. So I'm going to just talk about some of the common limiting beliefs that we have. So around success, so say there's several categories. So the first one is self-judgment. So we have a judgment about ourselves, and generally those judgments sound like, I'm not worthy, I'm not good enough, I'm a failure, I'm useless. There's some judgment about ourselves which is unempowering and has us feeling low, essentially.
Yeah.
So that's the first category. Then the second is about success itself. So especially in a lot of our cultures, like there is no option but to be successful. Like everyone has to be successful, and we're taught that from school. So like success is the only way. Failure is not tolerated, and and this is what we're taught. So then I know for myself, I had a belief that I had no choice but to be successful. Success was not a choice. It was be successful or life will be bad.
Mm-hmm.
So so then we have to look at our relationship to failure, because if we have no choice but to succeed, then when we fail, then we tend to judge ourselves critically. So if you can remove all of the beliefs around success and failure is just not accomplishing what you wanted to accomplish, but it's not the end of the world.
Yeah.
We have a lot of stuff around success and failure. So having a choice to succeed then means you're not driven, you actually do something that you want to do. So that is a common set of beliefs, what it takes to be successful and the nature of success and failure.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, you had something around that, Angelique. Did you want to share
Yeah,
something
I
around that?
mean, I have a lot of questions around this because I've actually also worked, I've done actually quite a lot of work on abundance constellations in group work after I trained.
Mm.
I actually did, so for instance, I did a whole special on money and abundance constellations, and all my clients that showed up, they basically, when I interviewed them, because this is how we do family constellation, we actually interview people about the facts in the family, not so much the judgments and their
Mm.
opinions about their family, but we actually look only at the facts, because the facts will actually tell us what has been transferred, what we call transgenerationally. And what was very
Yeah,
interesting was that everybody who had issues with success or money, there was somehow in the past or in the present moment, there was something to do with suffering around money. So for instance, because of the Second World War, we're still the generation that has to deal with the effects of the Second and the First World War in many countries. um, People, some of my clients, they had, for instance, grandparents that basically went bankrupt because there was a war, and there were people that so actually, when I work with a lot of clients who have issues with money, I will very often find that there is some kind of loss, like tragic loss of money, that was very sudden in the family. So basically, lack of
mm.
confidence is then being transferred transgenerationally, blocking people, believing in money, or actually having fear when money comes up. Another issue that I saw was sometimes people fear success, or they don't want to be successful because their heart longs to be loyal. And this is a big family constellations type of term. They want to be loyal to a family member that is suffering. So that could be, for instance, a brother or a sister or a father or mother that is basically, for instance, not in a position to be so-called successful in our social
Yeah,
terms. And so there's many ways that, and another time, there was, I've been participating in all these constellations as a facilitator when I was training. And then there was even one time when success or money was associated with death. So you can imagine that, we don't actually know where these blocks come from. Sometimes you have to do the deeper digging. So when I did the work with Daniel just yesterday, I basically really wanted to know why I had this fear around certain things that I had to do in my business. And literally, they were fears that had nothing to do with this life. And basically, when you think about them, when you talk about them, it's just so simple to do. And literally, I was paralyzed. And when Daniel did the Theta healing on me, I found out that through a lot of like checking in my body, and Daniel was asking all these questions, I found out that it was associated with fear of death. And actually, it had nothing to do with my family. It had nothing to do with my soul. So it wasn't past lives. It wasn't my family. It wasn't even a contract. There was no, vow of poverty or whatever. But what there was in my culture, the Chinese culture, and the Japanese culture as well. When you do not, when you're not successful, actually quite a lot of people kill themselves. So unconsciously, I took on the cultural burden of having to be a success. And if I wasn't a success, I felt that, it was better to be dead. So of course
Yeah.
that would paralyze me. So what I noticed was that I was paralyzed to do certain things, although, to do them would be so simple, but I was just paralyzed. And I probably have had this fear for years, and I would always procrastinate. And, there was always, I would find millions of excuses not to do these things. And literally, after you cleared it for me, I felt much more at ease to just do these things. And that whole charge, I think this is very important to know whether there is a block. There sometimes is a charge that you can't understand, and logic cannot touch it. And so
Yeah.
this was a cultural a thing that I inherited. There was something else that I inherited, which was about some kind of fear around just basically handling money. And so basically all of us, when we're alive, if we've done any investments, we will have had some kind of loss with money. If you've been an investor, or if you've ever run your own company, or you set up your own, basically you set up your own trading account, you will have made some losses. And basically when I went into the fear of actually dealing with money, I actually found out that the fear was not coming from this life. So basically I worked on that already, but the fear was coming from a past life. And so basically, how do I know that whether this is accurate or not? There is actually no way of knowing, because we cannot, there's a lot of research on past lives actually, but I cannot prove that this past life is real. The only thing that matters is that I don't have the charge anymore in my body. And that is, of course, what it is
Yeah.
about. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, and also the thing with past lives is there's a theory that we're all living different lives at the same time in parallel universes.
Yes.
So there may not even be a past. So it's not necessarily about whether it was a past life or not. It's how it appears to you and how the person who's dealing with it is interpreting it. And as long as we clear it, that's the main thing. So we
Yeah.
don't need to get too much into the detail,
Yes.
because sometimes people get lost in that, and it's not always useful. But as long as basically we clear the charge, we clear the energy, we clear the thoughts, and your actions and your how you feel changes. That's the main thing.
Absolutely. What
So,
I
so it was great. You said something around So there was ancestral belief around. So in the some of the Asian cultures around, like, it's better to die than to fail.
Yeah.
So it's interesting. We all of That's what I love about doing this. I'm really interested in this work. Is like there's so many different beliefs from different cultures. Like for me, for Afro-Caribbean, African Americans, there's stuff around worthiness and being a victim, still stuff, and that worthiness comes from being descendants of slaves, and sometimes there's anger there as well.
Yes.
And for us, sometimes there's we have to work hard, and we still don't achieve anything, because that's the life of a slave: is you worked hard, you achieve nothing in life.
Yeah.
So I've seen that with some clients. These are clients from the Caribbean. They observed it with their parents. Their parents worked hard and didn't achieve much, and obviously that came down through the generations of slaves. So these are the ancestral beliefs that continue to stay with us, which are important to clear.
Yeah.
And obviously, these things don't necessarily stop you from being successful, but there's a energetic drag, which means you have to work harder than you normally would have,
Yeah.
um, to move forward.
Yes. There's actually, what I was surprised by was the depth of questions that you asked me. So, for instance, when we were also working on an issue that I felt was blocking me, which was like the ability to actually earn money as a healer, because I felt like this huge block of wanting to even to ask money for healing, because A, I enjoyed it so much, and B, I really wanted to help people and give so much of myself. and still realizing that I was doing everybody a disservice by not charging money. And
Mm.
basically, when we worked on it, you asked me things like, is a healer evil? And I was like, wow, I didn't even think of that. Like, that could even be a belief in me that I didn't know about. And then secondly, you also asked, can you earn money? Can healers earn money? And then I said yes, but then it's turned out that I believe that healers can make money, but it was unsafe for myself to make money. And there was this huge
Mm.
fear of actually earning money as a healer, and God knows where that came from, because it was really real in my body. It was so interesting.
Yeah.
It's like, there's no way that we can actually generalize this. And definitely, I don't believe in blocking these fears or basically changing my thoughts and putting them in a corner or shoving them under the carpet, because they're
Yeah.
definitely affecting my results. They're affecting my life, and they're affecting my joy in life, and they're affecting, how much I can serve the world. So I almost think it's my duty to work on this so that I can actually create more clarity for myself, and actually express more of myself in life, so that the world benefits more of what I have to give. Because I think if we don't do it, we definitely are not going to express our gifts. We're just going to be stopped by basically repetition of things that have happened in the past. So I do have another question. Are there a lot of
Yeah.
what I also notice in the constellations work is that money itself can also have a lot of weird attachments. Is that something that you also check in theta healing?
Well, so there are. So I think in theta we notice more the conversations or beliefs about money. I'm not sure what you mean by attachments. There can be attachments in terms of money, and you can get weird ones between money and love, or issues with your parents around money. So
Yeah,
it's hard.
that's
So
what I
it's
mean. Money is evil. Money is lack of power. Money is giving away my power. Money is causing death. Any abuse of money. Do you know what I mean? Money as an entity.
yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean, we have So we have the ones which are from religion. So money is the root of all evil. Money is a curse. I have to work hard for every penny. Well, that's not so religious. That's more of a societal thing. And then you have ones which are more weird. So we're controlled by money, which actually can be true. Like, it can appear to be true. We live in a society where money rules, depending on where you live.
Yeah,
So money can take on a personality of itself in relation to the person who's having the issue with it.
yeah.
Yeah.
Can
It's all our beliefs at the end of the day. So it's the
yeah,
beliefs that we have are not always logical, which
yeah,
is why it's important to go into those as
yeah.
well.
I know there are some people on the Zoom, because I gave some of the Zoom numbers to some people that are in my mastermind. If you have any
Yeah,
questions, just feel free to basically put it in a chat. Um, so how can you explain theta healing work, Daniel? I know because you've actually done some work on me, what you do. But can you explain to
yeah,
a newbie what they will experience? So you can do it over Skype, so it doesn't matter where you are.
yeah,
And then what is it that
yeah.
they?
So you can do that. So we're going to look at an issue of your life. So you bring up an area, or you bring up a particular pattern or thought or belief that you're having, and we will dig down to the bottom of that belief, and we use kinesiology to test to see what beliefs are true and what beliefs are not. So it's like you have this belief, you have the surface belief, now underneath you have a whole series of beliefs underneath the surface belief. So what we will do is when we will dig down to get to the core belief, and then we remove that core belief, or we change it or
Yeah,
resolve it. So then the beliefs above get reduced. So it's important to get to the root belief, because that impacts so many other areas of our life. So that's what we do. We get to the block, we get to the root of the block, and then remove it. And I tap into universal energy or source energy, or the energy of the creator, and ask it to remove that belief. So it's two phases really. One is digging, so
Yeah.
it's really getting to the bottom of that belief, and we use kinesiology to test so we use kinesiology to test what's in the body, what's in the subconscious. So we don't work at the conscious level, we work at the subconscious level, and then we do the healing at the subconscious level, because that's where it's most difficult to get to through conventional means.
Yeah. Yeah. So anybody on Facebook Live that wants to ask questions, feel free to ask questions. So
We,
um,
we've got a couple of minutes left, I think.
yeah. So if there's any urgent questions, please let me know. So so we have a question from Natasha. Hi, Natasha. Hi, lovely. At what point of the timeline do you remove the belief? First time installed or when?
It doesn't matter. We remove it. So removing it from your energy field, not from your timeline. So it's just removing it from your energy field in the present moment. And in regards to time, so you can go back to the time when the first incident happened. And we do that for you as the person being healed, so you consciously know what happened. And then also, sometimes some things take some effort to release. So then we need to investigate that time, so you can get all the learning from that, but also release the trauma. Because sometimes we can get stuck in a certain period of time, or energy stuck from that time period.
Yes.
So it's about finding out what happened, releasing the trauma, and getting you to see the highest perspective of that time. So, for example, you're a child and your mother said something to you which upset you, and you created a belief that you can't be happy, for example. We go back to that time and get you to see from an adult perspective what was happening in that lifetime. And we download that. So we ask universal source to give you the highest perspective and the wisdom of everything that happened at that point in time. So
Yeah.
then you can see from the highest perspective rather than the perspective you had as a child. And then once you can see that, then it's easier to let that go. Because sometimes our child self is so attached to that belief, we don't want to let it go. But then when we can get the highest perspective and understand the highest truth of what happened at that point in time, then we can let that go, and then it can be healed.
Yeah.
So in terms of time, that's how we work on that level.
Yeah. Thank you, Natasha. Natasha is saying the belief can be reinforced over many gestalts, so good to remove at source. Yes. So
Yeah.
I actually, because we're running out of time, I would like to remind everybody that Daniel has been donating his generously his time to actually help our viewers and our community benefit from his knowledge by helping to raise money for nourished children. So it's a heavily discounted price. I mean, almost like 70% discounted price, if not more. So it's £16 for 30 minutes if you just want to have a chat, and £32 for an hour. £16 will actually feed one child for a whole month. And so if you have any questions about your issue or something generic, please private message Daniel. We will add his Facebook page on the under the comments, and we're also going to upload the recording on YouTube. So thank you so much. And on Sunday, Daniel, what are we going to do on Sunday again?
On Sunday, we're talking relationships, soulmates, how to use Theta to clear and to attract the compatible soulmates and relationships that we desire.
Well, we'll be doing some testing healing on me for sure.
Okay, good. We'll do that beforehand.
What came up?
So yeah, we'll talk about intuition, like because I think law of attraction really works when it comes to relationships. So we talk about the law of attraction in regards to relationships, soulmates, compatible soulmates, how to find them, how
Yes.
to deal with the issues that happen around that.
Yeah. Yes. Absolutely. That will be exciting. I'm really looking forward to it.
Yes.
Thank you so much, Daniel.
Thank you. It's a pleasure.
We will speak to each other later. And thank you,
Yeah.
everybody, on the Facebook Live. Lots of love. Bye bye.
Thank you. Bye. Ciao.